This is Shannonville Motorsport Park and the site of round 6 of the Castrol National Superbike Series, the Suzuki Challenge. Hello everybody and welcome to our final race of the 6-race series to crown the 1991 Canadian Pro 600 Production and Superbike Champions. Here to share the drama of this final day of the championship, Craig Hill of Castrol, Canada. And Craig, this is going to be a very special day for two riders.
Oh, you bet, Pat. Everything's on the line today. This is the day of the big payoffs. I mean, the contingency money that's there from Castrol, the money that's there from Motoplan, the manufacturer money. We're up to pretty close to $250,000 payday here today, so there's more than pride on the line. There's two special races, and these guys are going to be fighting for that prize money, too.
Well, one of those races is Pro 600 Production, where Lindley Clark of Barrie, Ontario, has a 10-point lead over Honda Canada rider Yves Brisson. Clark won the qualifying race here yesterday after crashing on Friday and having to go to a backup machine. By winning the heat race yesterday, Clark eliminated his teammate Pascal Picot from any chance of winning the championship. So it all comes down to a Yamaha rider, a Honda rider, Clark and Brisson for the championship.
The big thing that's coming up this weekend is that big three-way gunfight for the championship in the Superbike that our viewers are going to see later on today. Lindley Clark is going in with just a very slight cushion, and then, of course, Crevier and Picot are right there behind him. It's going to be some race, Pat.
Well, here's how that championship race shapes up. Lindley Clark heads the point standings. He has 57. He won the pole position at Calgary during round number 2 and took his first national superbike win here at Shannonville during round 3. Second in the points is Steve Crevier. He has 54, just 3 back of Lindley Clark. Steve has been the hottest rider of late. He won round number 4 at Atlantic Motorsport Park in Nova Scotia. He followed it up with a pole position and a win at Dumontagne in Quebec. So Crevier just 3 points back of Lindley Clark. Sitting in 3rd place in the point standings is Pascal Picot, the rider who was runner-up last year to Michel Mercier. Picot won round number 2 at Race City Speedway in Calgary and has also captured a couple of pole positions. But a rider who may play the role of spoiler is veteran Ruben McMurder. He's not had a good season. He's sitting all the way back in 8th in the championship, but had a great run in the qualifier here yesterday. That qualifier featured all 3 of the riders who are gunning for the Superbike Championship. But off the start, it was number 28, Jeff Gaynor, the Suzuki Canada rider, who actually jumped the start and almost ran into Steve Crevier as they went to turn 1. That allowed Lindley Clark into the lead with his teammate Pascal Picot chasing in 2nd as Crevier quickly moved to 3rd. Crevier and Picot quickly closed on Lindley Clark, and in the process, Steve Crevier set a brand new track record at 1:46.48 seconds on the Weldrite Canadian Kawasaki machine. On the last lap, disaster struck for Lindley Clark. He crashed heavily at the end of the back straightaway with Picot and Crevier right behind. Picot tried to avoid hitting Lindley Clark and in the process allowed Steve Crevier into the lead. Crevier won the 2 national championship points and picked up the Sunoco Gold $250 bonus. So it'll be Steve Crevier and Pascal Picot on the front row, but Lindley Clark, along with Jeff Gaynor, who was penalized the lap for his jump start, they'll have to start in the back row. It should be a great race, Craig.
Well, we have 3 different personalities going after the Canadian Pro Superbike Championship. And Clark's 3-point lead over Crevier doesn't really mean anything. And obviously, Clark has got to handle the pressure that Crevier is going to put on him. Crevier wants this championship badly, both for himself and for Kawasaki Canada. And you know, Pat, he's a real gunfighter. Pascal Picot is another type of rider. Here's a guy who with lots of natural talent, and he's already secured a ride with the Caddy for 92. So I see this as a gunfight between Picot and Crevier, because Clark's going to have to start from the back of the grid. And part of that action will be from our Sony onboard video cameras. And here's Pat with more.
These Sony Handycams mounted on a number of our superbikes have kept race fans right in the thick of this year's Canadian Superbike Championship battle. Steve Crevier and Benoit Pilon have the Sony Handycam mounted at the front of the motorcycle with a hole cut in the fairing for the lens. Now, these Sony Handycams will put us in the thick of what shall be a tremendous battle for the championship. Clark, Crevier, Picot, who will win it, we'll find out a little bit later on today. But when we return to Shannonville Motorsport Park, we'll have our first event, the Pro 600 Production Final, and that's coming up in just a moment. Motorsport Park and the Suzuki Challenge. The riders have completed their warm-up lap in preparation for our Pro 600 production final. The points leader, Lindley Clark, on the pole position. The man who must beat him, Yves Brisson, number 23, may get some help from his teammate, Ruben McMurder. He was very fast in the qualifying heat yesterday. Now here's Craig Hill with the front row of the grid.
And pole sitter Clark has elected to start from the outside of row 1. Then it's McMurder, Wykes, and Peacock. On row 2, it's Yves Brisson, Peter Wilson, and Mark Kowalski.
Starting on the inside of row 3 is Clyde McDonald of Nova Scotia, Ivan Lanneville, John Ramsey, and the veteran Lucas Roskel. Inside row 4, Steve Mckissock from Vancouver, and the rookie Owen Weichel, number 123, in his first Pro 600 production race. Weichel wrapped up the amateur 600 production championship earlier in the season. The riders revving up the 600cc production machines. All eyes focused here on the starting lights at Shannonville, and we're on green, the field away. Some of the front wheels being lofted in the air. The charge to turn 1, it'll be number 2, Pascal Picotte with the early lead. They'll go side by side out of turn 1 as they head up the straightaway to 2 and really spread it wide. Here's McMurder on the inside of Picotte, and he will put the Honda out in front. Beautiful job of outbraking Pascal Picotte at the top of the straightaway. And the former Canadian champion, McMurder, has put that Honda out in front. Here he comes into the Sterling Moss carousel. Picotte running second. Good battle here for third, involving the 23 machine of Yves Brisson as he tries to move up to challenge for that third place position. There's McMurder, Picotte, then 26 Lindley Clark, being pressured now by Brisson, number 23. And again, that race for third, the two riders who still have a shot at the championship. It's McMurder by about 4 bike lengths as the riders run it through the S's here at Shannonville through turn 9. Now they'll set it up for that hard braking, drop it down a gear into the hairpin and out onto the back straightaway now. They'll try to pick up a drafting partner on the 600cc production machines. There was Picotte looking over his shoulder, almost motioning his teammate Lindley Clark to take over second, but Clark will sit back again. It's still a freight train of production machines up front. McMurder, 24, still showing the way. In second, it is Picotte. And now it is 23 Brisson who has moved up into third. And now the two Yamaha teammates, Clark and Wykes, are having a battle for fourth.
Well, the pressure in this championship Pro 600 production race is really on the McMurder Honda team, because Ruben's teammate Brisson must win and Clark must finish 7th or worse for Brisson to take the championship. Now let's just see how the veteran McMurder handles his part of this strategy, Pat.
There is Picotte, number 2, Craig, and right with him is 23 Brisson, so he may be the fastest rider on the racetrack right now, but it's still Ruben McMurder, the team captain, leading. Picotte holding on to second, 23 Brisson is third, and now a new 5th place man. That is Mark Kowalski has moved up to 5th. Lindley Clark right now running back in the 6th place position, so Clark cannot afford to slide further back through the top 10, off the end of the back straightaway, back through turn 11, and 23 Brisson has taken over that 2nd place position. He was able to get around Pascal Picotte as they came down the back straightaway. Hard braking now, down a couple of gears into Allen's corner, and Picotte is closed right back up on Brisson, but you can see just the freight train of machines as they came through that tight little left-hander. It's now the Hondas running 1-2, McMurder and Brisson, the two Honda Canada, McMurder Racing CBR 600 F2s. Before the start of the season, we predicted this would be a Yamaha-Honda battle, and as it would be, we've got a Honda and a Yamaha rider going down to this final round to decide the championship. Number 14, Steve Wykes, holding on to that 3rd place position, but they've been swapping those positions back and forth through turn 9 of the S's, and again it is Brisson closing on McMurder. You know there'll be some team strategy here. McMurder will probably let Brisson by as they move out onto the straightaway. There's the check over the left shoulder. This is really a chess match being played out on the back straightaway. McMurder sitting up now a little bit late. He'll allow Brisson through on the inside. No, he will not. Brisson looked as though he was going to take the lead, but McMurder continues to hang in there up front. Brisson running in second, and then the rest of the field is closing as they come on the front straightaway.
Well, Pat, I'm impressed with Clark's ride. He's riding sore after that big get-off yesterday.
On the straightaway, here is Brisson late braking on McMurder, and yes, he'll get through on the inside. McMurder may have just eased off the throttle a little bit and now motioning to Brisson to pull away.
Well, that's just where Brisson must be to win this championship. And we talked to Ruben earlier about team strategy.
Well, Yves is in the points, and we want him, after the qualifying, we want him to be up in the front. If he's on pace, I'll back off, let him finish ahead of me. Lindley's hurt, so we have to know where he is, so the pit boards will be very important. We'll be
on the same team, yet each wants to finish as close to the front as possible. Here's what Clark had to say about his chances.
All I have to do is finish in the points, and that should give me, with the cushion I've got, the championship. So we're looking just for a reasonable finish. Top 10 would be fine.
Lindley Clark right now has moved up to 4th as his teammate Picot has dropped back. Here is White's 14, side by side with 24 McMurder for 2nd, but McMurder will hold off the bid by number 14 Steve Whites, who was our winner here at Shannonville during round number 3. Lindley Clark 26. There you can see Clark in that 4th place position as they head out of the Sterling Moss Carousel.
And there's a look at the current standings, with Brisson leading, followed by McMurder, Wykes, Clark, and Kowalski. Then in 6th, it's Mckissock, Peacock, Weichel in 8th, and that's a good race for the young rookie, Pat. And then it's Nova Scotia's Clyde McDonald and Peter Wilson in 10th.
We're on the last lap as the riders come through turn 7. There's 14, Steve Wykes, holding on to that 3rd place position. Lindley Clark, number 24, is in 4th. Clark about a half a lap away from the championship. Brisson still leading, but 4th would give Clark the championship through turn 9. Here is Whites challenging McMurder as they come into the hairpin, but Rubin making that Honda very, very wide as they go out onto the back straightaway for the final time. Clark, number 26, also checking over his shoulder. Here comes Kowalski on the inside, number 54. The Kitchener rider Kowalski has taken over 4th. Clark runs 5th. And here's 123, Owen Weichel, the amateur 600 production champion, picking up a position as Clyde McDonald ran wide. Checkered flag out at the line. 23, Yves Brisson will win it. And Lindley Clark finishes 5th for the championship. Here's 123, Owen Weichel to the line. A fine ride in his Pro 600 production debut. The fans on their feet and cheering what has been a superb final round.
And it's final. The winner is Yves Brisson. That's his first national win of 91, with McMurder 2nd, followed by Wykes, Kowalski, and then the new Pro 600 production champion, Lindley Clark. Then in 6th, it's Mckissock, Peacock, the rookie Weichel, McDonald, and Wilson. Clark has won his first Pro 600 championship, and we'll have to see if he can match that feat in the Pro 750 Superbike Championship race coming up next. Stay with us.
This is a research laboratory. It tries and fails to make Castrol motor oil.
Welcome back to Shannonville Motorsport Park and the Suzuki Challenge. The riders have just completed their warm-up laps in preparation for our Superbike feature. The story of this race is on the front row and the back row. Pascal Picot and Steve Crevier side by side. Both must win the race in order to take the championship. And in the back row, points leader Lindley Clark, who must get a good start if he wants to win this race. Now here's Craig Hill with the front row of the grid.
Steve Crevier has the pole, and he knows the feeling of being a champion. Having done it in 1989, he'd like to taste it again. Pascal Picot, the Granby Flyer, he's already been recognized internationally and would like to grab that #1 plate. Ruben McMurder has had a tough year and needs to do well in this race. Benoit Pilon, a talented rider on aging machinery. If Benoit can pull off a podium finish here, it could secure sponsorship for the 92 season.
The second row, Mike Taylor, Yves Brisson, Johnny Ramsey, rookie Mark Maisonneuve, Steve Wykes, another rookie in Attila Szabo, and Clyde McDonald starting out of Suzuki. In row 4, Steve Mckissock, the veteran Norm Murphy coming out of retirement for this final event, and Klaus Morley. And then in the last row, Jeff Gaynor and Lindley Clark. Watch those two riders, Lucas Rascal and Rick Covier. That is your lineup here. Crevier number 8, Picot number 2, side by side. The starting light's about to go green, and we're away at Shannonville. 3 riders, 1 championship. It has come down to this final event on a beautiful afternoon. The grandstand's packed. Another capacity crowd here at Shannonville Motorsport Park. The charge up the straightaway. We go on board with Steve Crevier aboard the Weldrite Racing Kawasaki. He runs in the 2nd place position. Just ahead of him, the race leader, Pascal Picot. On the Fast Racing School Yamaha, the riders heading on the short chute. Coming into the carousel, it is Picot, number 2, your leader. 8, Steve Crevier on that green Kawasaki running 2nd. Then it's 24, McMurder on the Honda in 3rd. 163, Benoit Pilon 4th. And 15, Michael Taylor 5th.
Well, Pat, you can see that all these riders are being a little more cautious than usual. They want to make sure that the tire temperatures come up slowly so that they will last the full race. You know, these guys have raced against each other all year long. They know each other's strengths and their weaknesses, so it's going to be a contest to see who makes the fewest mistakes.
Through the S's for the first time, Pascal Picotte by about 7 or 8 bike lengths. Crevier will gather some of that real estate up as they come into the hairpin. And now again, we go on board with Steve Crevier, the Sony Handycam, giving us these pictures. Big wheelie by Picotte as he came out of the hairpin. He looks over his shoulder and Crevier just blows right by on the back straightaway to take the lead. That Harold Surian prepared Kawasaki with a lot more horsepower than it had here when they ran in round number 3, and Crevier is charged to the front. He knows he must win the race here today in order to take the championship, and there you saw Benoit Pilot moving around Ruben McMurdo to take third. Some great racing here on this opening lap. Crevier and Picotte. As you predicted, Craig, it is a gunfight early.
Well, let's have another look at that Crevier pass for the lead, Pat. It looks like Picotte just rolled the throttle on a little too hard. He can't put the front wheel down. Then Steve just muscles past, and boy, he's showing that horsepower on the Weldrite Kawasaki today.
Here's number 23, Yves Brisson. Another disappointing run. He has taken the Honda RC30 to the pits, and oh, we just had a seagull ricochet off the helmets of both Crevier and Picotte as they came through the chicane. There's Mike Taylor now, number 15, just ahead of 26, Lindley Clark. So Clark has had a superb run up through the field. He's running 6th.
Well, Pat, I don't know how Picotte retained his composure after getting hit with the seagull. He didn't let off at all. You talk about concentration. Let's have another look. These guys are coming through, and then, boy, that bird just hits him in the helmet. Wembo. You know, that could have been a disaster for both these guys, and that just goes to show you it doesn't take much. There's Norm Murphy off, by the way. He must have run off the end of the straightaway.
While Norm's still a little bit rusty, he hasn't raced in a couple of years and came out of retirement to run this final Superbike round here on his home track at Shannonville. That battle for third rages between Pilot and McMurdo. Here's 26, Lindley Clark now. He has moved up into 5th. McMurdo on the inside of Pilot, but can't quite get around as they go through turn 1. Up the straightaway, just a couple of bike lengths separating that pair, and Michael Taylor, number 15, hanging on to Lindley Clark. Benoit Pilot, number 163, demolished his motorcycle during round 4 at Shubenacadie. He has battled back to put that machine back together. Crevier, number 8, number 2, Pascal Picotte continued a torrid pace at the front. Crevier broke the Superbike track record yesterday here in qualifying, and they're on a very fast pace here today. Into the hairpin, here comes Picotte. Up to the outside looking for the pass, but Crevier will hold him off. And again, it's 163 Benoit Pilot, 24 McMurdo. They continue to run in 3rd and 4th, and then Lindley Clark, number 26. Back in 5th, 15, Michael Taylor runs in the 6th place position. Here are a couple of Suzuki riders, 78 Attila Szabo and number 88 Clyde McDonald. Steve Crevier brings the Kawasaki back across the start-finish line, and here is Pilot, 163 McMurdo, and Ruben will finally be able to take over that 3rd place position. Pilot drops to 4th, and meanwhile, Lindley Clark, number 26, is continuing to catch that pair.
And there are the standings with Crevier ahead of Picotte, McMurdo, Pilon, and Clark, the current points leader. In 6th, it's Taylor, then Gaynor, Ramsey, Masonov, and Whites. And Pat, I'm impressed with Ruben McMurdo. He led the Pro 600 production race until giving it up to his teammate Brisson, and there he is, hanging right in there, just back at the leaders today.
Ruben just ahead of another hard charger in Benoit Pilot. Now challenging 163 Benoit Pilot as they head up the turn number 6. Here comes Taylor. He'll move down on the inside to grab 4th.
And there's the updated standings with Crevier still holding off Picotte. Then it's Clark in 3rd, followed by Taylor and Pilon. In 6th, it's Gaynor, Nova Scotia's Ramsey, Masonov, Wykes, and the rookie Attila Szabo.
It's still a 2-rider battle for the lead. Crevier, number 8. Oh, big slide there by Crevier, but he hangs onto the lead as they come out of the hairpin.
And that's the new 3rd place rider, Lindley Clark. He needs Picotte to win here in order for him to take the championship on points. So don't go away. To Shannonville Motorsport Park and the final round of the Castrol National Superbike Series. I'm Craig Hill along with Pat Gonzalez as number 8 Steve Crevier continues to lead ahead of number 2 Pascal Picotte.
Just a couple of bike lengths separating Crevier on the Kawasaki and Pascal Picot on the number 2 Yamaha as we work this final lap. Out of the Sterling Moss Carousel for the last time, these riders with those machines leaned right over, and oh, Crevier into a big slide. He just about pitched it away, and Picot takes the lead. Crevier now running in the second place position, and if Picot can hold on here for the win, that would give Lindley Clark the championship, and there is Clark running all by himself in third place. He's done a superb job of coming off the back row to hang on to that third place spot. Pascal Picot, number 2, into the hairpin, and now the Sony Handycam takes us on board with Steve Crevier on the back straightaway for the final time. Here comes Crevier drafting off the Yamaha of Pascal Picot. He'll pull alongside, and Crevier takes the lead. He's back in the championship position. Crevier with a brilliant pass on the back straightaway. He was just able to force his way by. Through the chicane now for the final time they'll come. Crevier stretching the lead out. 5-6 bike lengths. Hard braking, knock it down a couple of gears through Allen's corner for the final time. Crevier just one corner away from the 1991 Superbike Championship. Here comes Pascal Picot. Big slide by Picot, but there's the checkered flag. Crevier, both hands in the air. He has won the 1991 Superbike crown.
And what a great display of riding ability by the new Canadian Superbike champion, Steve Crevier, over Pascal Picot and Lindley Clark.
In fourth, it's Gaynor, followed by Taylor. Then it's Pilar, Ramsey, Maisonneuve, Whites, and McDonald. Here's Craig with champion Steve Crevier.
And poor Lindley was out of it, and it was just me and Pascal, and all I had to worry about was old Pascal, and I got in a couple of radical slides. Some transmission problems caused me to just about crash. And it was just a heck of a race, and I'm glad to be number 1 again, and hope I can display the number 1 plate for 1992.
Congratulations, Steve. An absolute great race.
Port Coquitlam, British Columbia, Steve Crevier. Your 1991 Canadian Superbike champion. At this time, I'd like to call on Alan LaBrosse of Race and Craig Hill from Castrol, Canada, to present a $20,000 check to race winner Steve Crevier for being the 1991 Superbike champion. Steve Crevier wins the 1991 Canadian Superbike Championship in marvelous fashion from a champagne-drenched victory podium. This is Pat Gonzalez for Craig Hill. We hope you've enjoyed the entire series. So long from Shannonville Motorsport Park.